Hi, so lava layering, it might be the first lesson you've ever done with your students or as a YSP TA ever, because it's the first lesson of the fall semester for second graders. So to begin, you're going to want to make sure that when you're starting your activity, it helps a lot if you play a video of a volcano erupting because that gets them really excited and kind of gives them some context for what's going to be happening because a lot of them might not be familiar with what an erupting volcano looks like. Then moving on to the actual lesson itself, you don't need to get too in depth with it. The biggest thing is that you're explaining to them that this magma inside the earth, this hot molten rock, right? It goes out of a volcano vent and now it's lava. Now that it's outside, it's lava, and as that lava flows down the volcano, it'll start to harden because it was liquid and then it'll become a solid. They probably haven't done states of matter yet, so work with that. Try to do as best as you can to get them to understand that solid or liquids can form solids when they're cooled down. So yeah, so when they're forming those solids come in layers. Every time the volcano erupts, it's going to form a new layer. And that's going to be the biggest takeaway for this lesson is these layers that are building, how do geologists use those to study the earth and study how a volcano has acted over many, many years? Okay. Feel free to look back at my general rules video, just because second grade, it is different than most of the other grades that you may or may not have experience teaching with. I teach second and third grade, and the difference from what I have to do with my second graders between and my third graders, I would never expected it, but you'll do just fine, I promise. So next, moving on, you're gonna want to set up once you do the lesson and you've taught them everything that you need to teach them about how the layers form and all of that, you're going to move on to the activity. Before you move on to the activity, you're going to want to make sure you set down ground rules because this might be your first or second interaction with these students. You need to make sure that they are listening to you and also that no experiment ever that you do ever goes in your mouth. That's going to be the first place they want to put things is right in their mouth. I've had students try to drink the vinegar. Please don't let them drink the vinegar for this lesson. But yeah, so make sure that your ground rules are that they don't get to put anything in their mouths. So, going on to the actual activity itself, you're going to want to make sure you have at least 5 different colors of Play-Doh and be prepared to throw it all away at the end because it's going to be really sticky and wet and gross and you're not going to want to ever touch it ever again. Also, make sure you bring plenty of paper towels. Do not expect to be able to use the classroom paper towels because that's their resource. You're coming into their classroom, you need to bring your resources, and you're going to need paper towels for this one. Also, make sure you use the aluminum trays that we have down in the nucleus. Those will be your best friend because they'll keep the mess inside a contained area. Let's see, what else? Once the kids have made at least just like 6 or so layers with the Play-Doh and mapping out where the lava flow happened with the baking soda eruption, you're gonna take the straws and you're gonna have them put it into the layers and kind of twist a little bit, pull it back out, and see if they can see the layers in the straw. Make sure you do this on your own before you go into the classroom because it can get a little tricky getting the Play-Doh to actually form good layers inside of the straw. So you want to make sure that you know how to do it so then you can help your students if they need help. For me, one of the most difficult issues with this lesson is the timing. It's really easy to go over time with this lesson because you're first starting out, you don't know what their pace of writing is, you should be writing along with them, making sure that they have all the parts to their scientific method within their journals. And it's really easy to go over time because they get so excited about doing the activity and they want to do it over and over again, but you need to make sure you manage your time and you plan out exactly how much, or not exactly, but give yourself a pretty good estimate of how much time each part of the overall activity is going to take you because you don't want to go over time. You want to have plenty of time to recap and like bring it back to the original lesson of like, why did geologists study this stuff? And it's because they need to see what happens over time. It tells them things that were happening before we had anyone writing stuff down. So that is a fun recap of lava layering. My slides should also be included in the Google Drive if we still use that when you watch this, but I hope you have a good time teaching the kids and just know they're going to love this activity.